Welcome back. This is Force 13 Live. I'm Nathan Foy. Hello, here's my face over here. And we're also joined by the Skype team. It's not about me, and it's not even, to be honest, about them. It's about Cyclone Debbie, and we're just bringing to you the latest information on the storm as it comes about. I'm joined though by I think we've still got the same people we had in the last hour: Craig, David, and Leighton. Hello.
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 And you want me to read out the latest information?
Got another radar loop
Yes,
coming
read
in.
out the latest information.
The warning remains for St. Lawrence, Townsville, Mackay, the Whitsunday Islands, extending inland to Charters Towers, Mount Conan, Moranbah, Pentland. Tropical Cyclone Debbie remains Category 4 with winds near the centre of 175 kilometres per hour with wind gusts to 250 kilometres per hour. Location 30 kilometres to 19.9 degrees south, 149.1 degrees east, estimated to be 85 kilometres east northeast of Bowen, 60 kilometres north of Hamilton Island. Movement west-southwest at 6 kilometres an hour. Tropical Cyclone Debbie is forecast to make landfall on the mainland between air midpoint around midday. And Nathan updated observations: 194 millimetres of rainfall at Strathdickey near Proserpine in the 1 hour to 7:45. Nearly 200 millimetres in an hour period.
I've got an observation.
Hold on a minute. Where was that?
194 millimetres of rainfall at Strathdickey near Proserpine in a 1 hour period to a 7:45. Wind gusts of nearly 200 kilometres an hour reported at Hamilton Island Airport at 6:52.
All right, thank you for that. Okay, let's see if we've got any questions. Why has cyclone activity in the South Pacific been so low and across the whole world so low? Before this storm formed, the accumulated cyclone energy before this storm formed around the world to date in 2017 had been the lowest since 1954. I'm not sure how this will change things, but it will be the lowest still in quite a while. You know, it was remarkable leading up to Inawo. It was almost going to be the first time a major cyclone had not formed in the first 3 months of the year ever, we believe. But Inawo averted that, and so has Debbie. Anyway, here's the latest imagery of the storm, and you saw another visible image that came out not so long ago at the top of this show. In fact, let me see if I can bring that to you. There it is. That's the last visible, one of the most recent visible images from the Himawari satellite. That was around 20 minutes ago. That's how the storm looked back then. We really don't know where exactly the centre of the storm is, but the edge of the storm is probably going to be very close, if not maybe even over some of the land areas now. Certainly over Hayman Island, and you take a look at that radar image. That is up to date, right?
Yeah. 7:50 Eastern time.
Is that up to date, David? Yeah, sounds like it. Okay.
Yes, Nathan. I'm just looking at the Debbie's track. So, Cat 4 right down to Serena now. So it's gradually coming down. The systems are known to come down to St. Lawrence, and it is edging itself towards St. Lawrence.
This is turning out to be a rock bugger.
I'm just going to take a little 3-minute vacation from the stream here. I'll leave you guys to an open mic just for a few moments whilst I conduct some operations elsewhere, briefly.
Right, so whilst Nathan is away for 3 minutes, Jason, who is our technical expert, and myself, we operate the 4th to 13th Australia Oceania channel. I would like to send out via this live broadcast a special thank you to those who have supported the channel, the content being posted. And for me personally, it is a challenge in producing the video content, but the support is much appreciated. Craig, do you have any information on the tornado situation?
Turned now. Yeah, as I was listening there, Craig.
There was a tornado confirmed in Tennessee.
There was.
That's the only one I'm seeing.
Alright.
Let's see if any wind reports.
Here's a question that's come in. On a scale from 1 to 10, what would you rate the severity of this storm? Well, it's an interesting one because the new CDPS scale that we use is a 10-tiered scale, and at the moment it's stage 4 on that 10, but that only really covers the strongest of storms, indeed. So in terms of actual effect on land, I would say it's pretty more significant than that, probably 5 or 6, because it's not a storm that's going to cause the biggest impact in the entire world. But it is going to cause some problems, you see. So as the storm continues towards the west, the landfall becomes imminent, and we'll wait to see what happens. Obviously, if the storm's moving more slowly, it's going to cause more problems, and there's a lot of variables when you talk about rating it from 1 to 10. It's quite a simple thing to ask, but not the simplest thing in the world to answer. But there's the latest radar imagery of the storm moving towards the west, and that is the last, one of the most recent Himawari 8 images of the storm in the last hour or so. Current time 9 minutes past 10. If you've got any questions or comments for us, do send a message. Start your message with Force 13 all in text to get in touch, and we'll respond hopefully with our team to answer that question if I can't for you. Yeah, that's it really. Storm's moving pretty slowly. I'm not sure what the speed is right now, David. There's the latest update on that?
Apology for the interference.
No one heard it, David.
Okay, thanks, Nathan. Apology. Now, you want the wind speed.
The current movement. How fast is it going now, the latest update?
The latest update was west southwest at 6.
Still 6.
Still 6.
Wow. Okay.
Would you say it's stationary? Near stationary? Quasi-stationary?
Don't ask me these questions, because
Well,
it depends what source you're going by. If you're going by satellite, it doesn't appear to be moving very quickly at all. If you're looking at radar, it seems to be almost stalling, 2 or 3 knots. If you go by the numbers that I've given, which sound very fishy, it's 8 miles an hour.
Fishy. Good one.
8 miles an hour to the southwest. But to be honest, the latter seems to be the most reasonable as to what you'd expect. But I don't know.
For our viewers, I'm just going to throw this bit of information. I've been following severe weather events for probably nearly 10 years. The first system that I really tracked was Yasi, and we have been in a drought. I think the last major system in the Coral Sea, Nathan, was 2 years ago? And Debbie, she actually broke the Coral Sea drought. What was that? The stat that if we didn't see a system in the Coral Sea, it would have been the quietest period since 1947.
Well, the last time we had a whole season that didn't have a storm in the Coral Sea. The last time that happened was 1924. I didn't think it was going to happen. It hasn't happened, and there's no real surprise there. I think it was 2004 that came close by having only a weak tropical storm to form in the Coral Sea in that whole season and nothing else. So it came close that year, but this year, obviously, this has bucked that trend, of course. But it must be quite some record even to say that this is the latest start to a Coral Sea season, as it were, in a long time.
Thanks for that, Nathan. Latest weather observations for Hamilton Island shows the central pressure dropping.
Again?
And I did see a bit of information from the Bureau. And Nathan, I'm going to ask you this question.
Well, just to say that the pressure at Hamilton Island down to 975.
Yes, with wind gusts 86, winds
Sustained.
been in knots.
Sustained 86 knots. So that's over 100 mile an hour winds sustained on Hamilton Island.
Yes, and we're looking at 2 readings, 7:42, 8 o'clock. We might see an updated position in 3 minutes. Now, I saw a bit of information saying that Debbie is to drop to 9:46.
Well, it sort of already did that.
All right.
Our earlier pressure estimates were around 943. They've gone up to 951 at the last update. From force 13 at least.
9:43. Is there a recorded?
No, nothing's
station
recorded.
Showing that.
No, nowhere near, I'm afraid.
Not at this stage. Yep.
Well, the nearest station is Hamilton Island, so they've got 975. They're still some distance from the storm. At the minimum, they are 18 miles from the storm, but it's probably more.
Mackay Airport is 997.
Yeah.
Winds 20, gusting 38. Percy Island, which is slightly down the Great Barrier Reef, 1003.5. And they've got winds 15, gusting 31.
And there's the radar again. You can see Hayman Island just inside the eye there, and Hook Island there, half of it at least, is just inside the eye as well. And then it's difficult to see the other locations marked on that map there, but Bowen isn't it is in one of those eye wall bands, the outer eye wall, of possibly 3 eye walls. They're looking at that, but 3 bands before the eye at least.
Yep.
It's going to have it's having some heavy weather right now.
Proserpine is 989. Winds are 39, gusting at 56. South-southeasterly winds. That's Proserpine.
All right, thank you for that. I think we had this question earlier, but it's been asked again. Obviously, we get new viewers every so often, so we'll respond to that. What chances are there for tornadoes from Debbie?
Give me a couple of minutes. I'll bring up some further information. I'll screen share, and we'll have a look at the supercell, the instability, storm probability outlook.
All right. Look forward to it. We'll wait for you here, David.
No, but my computer's been a little bit slow,
Yeah.
but here we
It's always
come.
the problem, isn't it? Start your message with Force 13 if you'd like to get in touch, all in text, please. But if you do that, it lights up for me so I can see exactly who wants my attention or our attention, if it's something that other members of the team can answer. Now let's take a look at David's presentation.
This is instability in 3-hour blocks, and this is, you can see the entire Australian continent. What we're looking at is the tropical cyclone Debbie. This is the instability position at 10 a.m. And as mentioned, these are in 3-hourly blocks.
Okay.
And you can see the intensity to the northeast, 1600 hours, and it starts to track down towards my location here in Brisbane, and that is to 7 p.m. tonight. And you can see the area, Darwin, Northern Territory, the Gulf of Carpentaria, and this is to 10 p.m. tonight. Now we go to the, and all this information is GFS, storm probability.
Ah, yes.
There it is,
But I'm not
7
seeing-
a.m.s.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, on the eastern and southern side, but not much on the western side there.
True. Now this is 10 a.m. and I've got another site that we can go to.
It seems
So
to be mostly
basically-
offshore, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay.
Now we come to 1300 hours.
1 o'clock. A little bit more there. 4 o'clock. Mainly offshore, but a little bit further south there. Curious.
And it's at the centre.
Yeah, probably.
Debbie?
Yes. Looks
Right.
like. And there it is, moving in.
Right. Now we're going to supercell
Right.
probability.
Let's go with some questions. Some very curious questions indeed. Someone wants to know if, I don't know whether they're referring to me or us collectively, are we interested in F1? It's an interesting question to ask right now. It's interesting. I think it's fun. I don't watch it massively.
That's true.
Someone asking about Inarwo. Did it have 160 mile an hour winds? We did say it was 160 miles per hour operationally. We did downgrade it to 155 in our report that I linked in the chat just now. Also, more questions. Another one that David talked about earlier. Are there any mandatory evacuations? David tells us that mandatory evacuations don't really happen in Australia for cyclones. Has there ever been an exception to that? Has it ever happened, in your knowledge?
Not to my knowledge,
Okay.
Nathan.
We'll leave it there
As
then.
I said,
Also, why are we so interested in cyclones? Well, for some people, it's lives on the line after all. But for people who aren't in cyclone areas, we have a little bit more to answer for. But, well, the more people ask me those types of questions personally, the more I don't have an answer for them, because I'm mainly, the main reason I'm here, I guess, is to inform and educate people about what is the current situation, the news on the cyclones, and because I'm good at it, I guess. Not so much because I do still like it, but not as much as I used to. But there we are.
New radar coming.
I'm sure we'll see that somewhere. Okay, someone else asking. Let's see here. Do we think Debbie has weakened to Category 2 on the Saffir-Simpson scale now? 110 miles an hour. Questions. Answer, sorry.
I'd say it's about 105.
You do? You think it's weakened that much?
Yep.
Alright.
Looking at structure, it's very poor for a Category 3.
I think it's not got long left. I think next hour it could see a downgrade. We still said Category 3 on this hour. Another question, what are the chances of Cyclone Debbie becoming Category 4 equivalent on the Saffir-Simpson scale? That is absolutely Category 5 on the Australian scale. Well, I think it's unlikely. It's not impossible, but I don't think that's going to be happening here. People asking about nowcasts. Well, I don't personally make the nowcast, but Jason is the person in charge of that. I think I heard one or two rumblings about him bringing them back at some point, but we do have lots of other priorities at this time. And Devon telling us on the stream here that Debbie is on a weakening trend and not likely to strengthen before landfall. That's what he told us in the chat. Devon, part of our team. David.
He did indicate yesterday that it was back on the radar.
Yes.
That's now cast, but is Debbie going to come back for round 2? That's a question.
That's what you always talk about. Oh, is it going to come back for round 2? Is what you always say. I don't think it will.
Well, I'm thinking of a
system. What you mean by round 2?
Well, it's doing that curve. That curve is becoming more tighter. It's going to.
No, David, the new imagery's out here. It's been pretty much westward according to the satellite. Apart from that little tight loop there that it did, and now it looks like it's gone back west again.
Right, but it's still going to. As a tropical depression,
or maybe
it's
west
going
southwest.
to do that. It's going to do that curve. It's going to come back out.
It's going to come back out, but it's not going to come back for round 2. It's just going to go off to the extratropical zone and die.
I'd say it'll go extratropical over.
But it might get pushed back up into the central Coral Sea.
It's not going to go there. If it's going to hit any other land areas, it's going to be New Zealand, isn't it?
Indeed.
Well, I can remember when a tropical cyclone did a complete figure 8 along the entire Queensland coast. A figure 8.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen, though. I think the storm's too far south for it to happen. I think it would have to be a bit further north.
Yeah, I know. Sea surface temperature. Well, we know sea surface temperature. Tropical systems can
I just think
still
it's gonna
survive
get,
in what?
It's
The high 20 Celsius?
It's going to get dragged forwards. David, if you could show us a graphic of a massive area of high pressure in the southern Coral Sea, let me know. But until then, I'm sticking to my story.
You're funny, you are.
I brought out the devil's advocate position. But okay.
Well, there we are. Let's see if we could get any latest observations. So the last we heard from Hamilton Island is that the pressure was 975 millibars, and that the 4 millimeters of rain dropped in just 15 minutes there, David, over that period of time. And wind speed sustained at 86 knots, so that's pretty significant as well. That's around 100 miles per hour.
All right, Nathan, can you bring this one up for the viewers?
Well, I don't know. What is it? And just to let you know, Bureau of Meteorology still thinks that there's another 5 hours between us and landfall right now.
5 hours, so it pushes us out. Well, I did make the comment, it'll
They're saying
probably
1
get
o'clock
pushed
now.
out.
1 o'clock now.
1 o'clock. Colour forecast map for the next 4 days. The Bureau of Meteorology. Let's have a look at the troughs and where Debbie is located. And that trough is going to it's going to track right down into northern New South Wales. And looking at that trough for Thursday. And there's ex-Debbie as a 1001, possibly tropical low. And when I look at that, it reminds me of ex-tropical cyclone Oswald.
I was waiting for that.
Who, yeah, well, he formed, or he formed up there in the Gulf of Carpentaria. And didn't survive very long as a TC, but when you look at the trough for 10 a.m. Thursday out to 10 p.m. Thursday, Oswald came right down and went across back out the sea over Brisbane, northern New South Wales.
And
that's
David's tail,
depression.
long tail of the legend that is Oswald for David. Or as he calls it, Oswald, as David calls it.
It knocked the power supply out. We lost telecommunications here in Brisbane. The telephones were out for 4 days. Everybody relied on the mobile telephones, but Brisbane flooded.
Yes,
and
Brisbane has flooded quite a few times.
Flood. 2000, what was it? 2010,
yeah, 10,
11.
Yep.
That's
a pretty bad time.
Cyclone team.
Yes, but not as bad as 1974.
All right, let's not go there. Leighton, what was that?
Are you on about Cyclone team?
No, we weren't on about Tim.
Didn't that affect Brisbane?
I remember the name. I can't remember what it did.
One of the worst floods in that area, I believe. I think it's 2011.
Was it now? I remember the name. I can't remember what it did, however. Let's see. What have we got here? Okay, another question there. When do we believe landfall will be achieved? Well, all we can tell you right now is going off the numbers that we've received. Going off the numbers, it looks like we'll have landfall in... Actually, looking at this, David, if I extrapolate the current track of the storm, it could be as soon as 1 hour from now.
Well, I wasn't expecting landfall till 1.
But I can't confirm that. But it could be as soon as 1 hour from now. But it could, well, for instance, the Bureau of Meteorology says. But having said that, David, the Bureau of Meteorology thinks that it will have landfall south of Bowen in 5 hours, 4.5 hours. But to have a landfall south of Bowen, there's another little peninsula, Cape Gloucester I believe it is, just before that, and it would surely have to hit that peninsula if it was going to land south of Bowen. So technically, we're probably going to have a landfall either way in the next 2 or 3 hours.
And I'll respond to that after, but it's being reported by Channel 9 Queensland due to Cyclone Debbie. 25,000 people have been evacuated from low-lying areas near Mackay.
Well, what about that 120,000 figure that we were given in the last hour?
Well, I'd say 25,000 have decided to evacuate.
So 120,000
Total
they're saying
population.
you should evacuate. Only 25,000 have, yeah?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. Craig, I don't know if you've still got, if you're still with us first of all, but whether you've got any comments.
I just don't know in the last few frames where Debbie started moving northwest again.
Northwest.
So, you still think there's a possibility it could do a U-turn? Really?
No.
Okay, good. You think it will make landfall, correct?
It's up to her, really. I think it
Up
will.
to her. You choked me.
You mean
How long do you think it will take?
It's about, what, 3 hours away from landfall?
So you're going with 3 hours. David?
I'm just looking at the latest coordinates. I'm still saying midday.
Midday, that's not ever so far away from now, is it? Is that another... Where are we? 3 hours after this?
That's about right.
Very good. I'm getting the time zones sorted out. It's so confusing. 10:32 p.m. UTC. The clocks went forward here in the UK last Sunday, so it's now 11:32 here. And in Australia it would be... Let me get it right. Is it 8:32?
Right foot. Spot on.
Oh, thank goodness
You're
for that.
doing well.
I thought I was going to get that one wrong, honestly.
Oh, dear.
And don't ask me about what time it is on the west coast. But there's the storm.
What time is it on the west coast?
Approaching land. Shut up. Debbie approaching land at this hour. People are starting to lose their minds. Well, we have been here for a little while now. We've been broadcasting for 4.5 hours so far. We will be here until the storm makes landfall, at least. And, you know, there's not too much for us to talk about in terms of actual news that comes out of this. It doesn't come out particularly quickly, does it, David? Though a place like Australia, you would expect it a lot more quickly than you would Madagascar, like we had with Inaro. It took days and days for the information to arrive. But with this, we'll get it pretty quickly.
Yeah, quickly and efficiently.
And whilst Nathan has a bit of a breather, Force 13 is always on the lookout for those people who would like to become members of the Force 13 team. And we are currently looking for anyone that would like to lend support to our technical support team.
Make it sound like we fix computers, David. Technical
Well,
support.
I gotta put that in.
Don't fix computers.
Craig, you think it's still a Category 3? Let's bring up some of the infrared imagery right now. The visible is pretty, but let's take a look at infrared right now in just a minute whilst I bring it up here. There it is.
I think this new eye's going to come out soon. I think it is.
No, I don't. I don't think it is. I think it's just given up. It's on the beach. Quite literally.
It's not off the beach.
I think it's just going to continue coasting towards land there, and it's... I don't think we're going to have any more shifts in direction. Then again, I don't know. That last frame might have a westward component. Difficult to tell. But all in all, I think we're going to get that landfall on one of those peninsulas before Bowen in around 3 hours, maybe 2. But is the satellite imagery, is the radar, is Debbie fooling us all? And those numbers that we gave out at the top of the hour suggesting that the storm was southwest of what was the name of that island again? Began with a H.
Hayman Island.
That's the one. Hayman Island. Southwest of there, it said at the last hour, which I thought was very strange. So we're just going to have to wait and see what the next hour is going to say, and whether it gets corrected or whether it's actually true, or but what we do, I mean, those are just the technicalities there. We know what areas are going to be impacted by this storm. All of those areas under the cyclone warning zone, from Lucinda in the north to St. Lawrence in the south, all points in between, all those inland areas, Mount Coulon and Pentland in particular under the warnings as well. Huge warning area, large amounts of locations that could be hit by not only the strong winds, which it already is hitting, 100-mile-an-hour winds on Hamilton Island, but also heavy rain, though not as heavy as we were thinking it would be. Oh my goodness. Latest reports from Hamilton Island. Wind gust of 120 knots. That's 140-mile-an-hour gusts on Hamilton Island, with sustained winds of 97 97 knots, which is nearly 115 miles per hour, nearly Category 3 Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale there. So that's very interesting, and the pressure remains at around 974.
Where was that reported in terms of storm location?
Yeah, so that's Hamilton Island. If you use my numbers just now, it's 18 miles from the centre of the storm. If you go off the satellite imagery there, I'd say something around 25 miles from the centre of the storm. Nearly Category 3 conditions Saffir-Simpson, nearly Category 4 conditions Australian scale. Probably is Category 4 actually. Yeah, Category 4 Australian scale conditions being reported on Hamilton Island. David, your thoughts of that news?
Well, I think it's going to.
Do you think based on that information, Category 4 conditions, 25 miles from the centre of the storm, is this being underestimated?
The Queensland Police Commissioner earlier this morning said that Debbie is very erratic. I think history supports that, and I'm indicating a landfall to the northwest of Hayman Island. Wetray Island, Gloucester Island, Mid Island, Grassy Island, but to the southeast of Bowen.
Indeed.
But that curve is tightening when looking at the overall track. And it could even she could recurve to the north of St. Lawrence instead of south.
Wasn't that a given?
No, I said to the south of St. Lawrence, but
oh wait,
I'm looking at.
Sorry, yes, the recurve. Oh, you're talking about it. I see. That's interesting if that's true.
And as we await the 9 o'clock update,
yeah,
the information really hasn't changed. So we're now relying on the satellite, the radar, the observations,
which aren't working very well at the moment. They all disagree with each other. Not much else to talk about right now. I'm just going to take a moment's break here. David, I'm not sure if you want to bring up anything at this time, but it'll be really quick. I'll be back in just a moment.
I'll wait till you come back. So, as I just said, we rate the 9 o'clock update. We know that the movement officially west-southwest at 6 kilometres an hour. Significant rainfall near Proserpine in a 1 hour period of nearly 200 millimetres. The Bureau is forecasting isolated areas of anywhere up to 500 millimetres. Wind gusts recorded at Hamilton Island at 6:52 local time, nearly 200 kilometres an hour. The observations are updated every half hour, but the Bureau has been updating some of the information 15 minutes. The Mackay region, Nathan had a observation at 8 o'clock, 8:18, 8:30, which is only 12 minutes. So the Mackay is 997. Central pressure 21 to 37 knots.
Yes, indeed. I'm back, by the way. There's the latest shot of Debbie as it moves ever closer towards its landfall, which is inevitable, but the stream rolls on with the storm not moving particularly quickly. And it's another waiting game, isn't it?
Yes, Middle Percy Island, which is just to the south of Mackay. The wind speed. I've lost the
You
link.
lost it. Well, I doubt it. Is it hurricane force? I doubt that.
40, gusting 40.
Okay, so just about almost tropical storm strength there, which is still, of course, significant.
And Quill Reef, it's reporting 43 knots, gusting 55, central pressure 998.
All right. Yeah, so we really don't have much else to say at this point. If you do have any comments or questions for us, do let us know. We'll have more position updates on the storm coming up very soon. Craig, do you have any news from Tornado Alley?
Not much information coming from them. I'm just gonna try and find any more.
I don't suppose any more tornadoes are forming.
Not from what I've heard of, but I'm just gonna do an update to check. Apparently there was a tornado warning still in effect, so I'm gonna read that out and I'll try and find information on it.
Because of course we
What
keep
it
on
was
top
to save
of
itself.
all that's going on worldwide whenever we can. But our main focus is the tropical cyclone activity and severe weather. We've done live streams about all of those things. But we will have position updates on Debbie pretty shortly. And as far as intensity goes, it's a strange storm now that it's somewhat impacting land. Its land interaction is affecting the storm a little bit. It looks like the significant cloud tops are still going on the right hand side, Craig, and that is where the strongest part of the storm is now by some distance.
Oh yeah, by far. There's no doubt.
Just looking at the latest frames there, it looks like the northwestern side is now looking like it's ready to really fall apart. Would you agree?
I honestly have. I literally gave up with the storm now. I just don't.
You've given up?
I've honestly
Give up
gave up
now?
with it. This storm just doesn't know what to do with itself.
Yes,
It really
we're
doesn't.
just in a little lull here whilst we wait for the news to come in of its latest position update, which I expect will happen in around a minute or so.
All about there, probably.
So
The Joy Typhoon.
go
on.
ahead.
Jeez.
he does
The
butt in
Typhoon-
like that, doesn't he? Yes. Go on.
Apology. Joy Typhoon Warning Centre reported 10 nautical mile ragged eye that beginning to erode on the western side
Yes.
as the system is now interacting with the eastern shore of Queensland. The eastern shore, that would have to be, the Great Barrier Reef. That's an unusual one, interacting with the eastern. I thought they might have had the western, so that they must be factoring in the Great Barrier Reef, because we know Debbie is inside the reef. And wave height 27 feet.
Yeah, we've been talking about surge, of course, and
Yep.
I don't know if you've got any news coming out of surge beginning to impact the coast already. It must be doing so by now, with it being so close.
It's been reported that there have been 2 recordings of 222 kilometres an hour wind gusts on Hamilton Island at 8:12 a.m. and 8:20 a.m.
I have a new position update. The latest position update suggests that the storm is only 5 miles north of Airlie Beach. 5 miles north of Airlie Beach and 34 miles east-southeast of Bowen. That's what the numbers are saying. It doesn't quite agree with what we're saying visually, but that's what the numbers are saying, and Craig, I'm not so sure on that still.
I don't know who to believe here. Whether we should
We've not
listen
looked
to
at
the
radar
numbers
for a
or
while though. I don't know if you could get up the radar.
see what I can.
That might
it's
be
been
of some benefit.
It's been reported, Nathan, via the South Brisbane Storms chasers, wild conditions at Airlie Beach, with the boys reporting wind gusts in excess of 150 kilometres an hour at present.
Yes, well,
That's Airlie
where's
Beach.
that? Oh, Airlie Beach. Yeah, well, they're probably having similar conditions to Hamilton Island, aren't they? And they
Yes.
had 140 mile an hour wind gusts, which is 200 and something, 220 kilometers per hour, something like that. So these numbers are happening, and it's a pretty dangerous storm to be out in if you're along those coastlines there.
Let's see what she does.
And the Bureau of Meteorology still think it's moving at 6 knots, is that right? Yes.
Yes.
They still think it's moving at 6 knots. They have a pressure of 946. Would you agree with that assessment? That's not the updated version though, that was as of 6 PM, so I'm guessing they're doing a proper update in an hour's time.
It's very strange.
And Nathan, away from the tropical scene, it's been reported magnitude 5.6 eastern sea of Japan.
How close
Earthquake.
to land? Very south.
Just checking. Magnitude 5.6, 10 kilometres I'm just trying to find the 42 degrees 033 north, 138 east.
Okay, if you have any questions or comments for us whilst we're on the S, start your message with Force13, all in text. Devon, our team member, is complaining that he's got a tool next to his name. That's interesting. But anyone else who's got anything to say, go right ahead. Oh, something's happening there now. Pressed the wrong button somewhere. Okay, let's see what we have. Whitsunday Island is finally completely in the eye. How long did that take? Well, are we all convinced that Whitsunday Island is in the eye? Again, it depends on the source. On radar, I've not seen radar for a while. I'd like to see it. But it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case, given the numbers that I've been seeing. And a somewhat off-topic question, what do you think Atlantic cyclone activity will be like this year?
God.
North or south?
Presumably north.
I think we'll have something in between 2016 and 2001 in terms of activity. But that could be incorrect. You never know. We've got the radar up here now. There's the latest radar animation, and you can see... could we possibly get a closer in look at that to see those islands in a little bit more detail? They could just about see the islands. Yes, I think they're right. At least part of Whitsunday Island is in the eye, if not the whole. Is that Whitsunday Island or the one further north? I think that's Hook Island. Actually, Whitsunday Island's a bit further south, not quite in the eye.
I'll just magnify a little bit, Nathan. It might help.
Yeah. Sounds like a lively garden there as well. So Hayman Island,
yes.
Hayman Island is completely in the eye right now, and you look at that imagery. That imagery is up to date, isn't it, David? There's nothing to say that
Yes.
the eye is actually where, pretty much where your cursor is, right? Is what the real-time ATCF is saying the center of the storm is located at that location. Well, clearly not, looking at that radar imagery. And to say it's just 5 miles north of Airlie Beach. But in any case, all of those areas are going to be experiencing really bad conditions right now. Hurricane force winds, I'd say, is a certainty given what's happened on Hamilton Island, and as far south as, well, maybe as far as Bowen right now could be receiving hurricane force gusts, and maybe hurricane force winds later on. Doesn't Bowen have an observation station there, David? Are they saying?
Yes, I'll bring it
What
up.
are they saying right now? There we are. Oh, not so much. I'm surprised by that. Only a 60-mile-an-hour gust or so. And only 40-mile-an-hour winds. It is tropical storm force, so it is potentially dangerous. But not nearly what I'd have expected by now at Bowen. I don't know whether Bowen Airport has a different sort of microclimate or something there, and it's not a particularly exposed location, but I'm not sure about that. But nowhere near what the observations on Hamilton Island, which is pretty much a similar distance away from the storm as Bowen is right now. Maybe Hamilton Island's only a little bit closer, but there's a big discrepancy there. Still getting 130-mile-an-hour gusts.
Central pressure 975, so it's actually dropped
Yep, that was earlier.
slightly.
And I think we're probably near the lowest pressure that it's going to record there now. It's probably going to get to the low
Yes.
970s. Hay Point, where's that?
It's just to the south of Mackay, but there's no readings. I'll have a look on the Great Barrier Reef, Krill Reef, 998. Although 43, gusting 55 from the northeast, Nathan. Krill Reef. It's just east of Proserpine.
Yes.
We'll have a look at Proserpine, 987.
And wind gusts there almost at hurricane force.
61, yep. South-southeast.
That's significant. And we'll be watching Bowen, I guess, but especially Airlie Beach, which apparently is only 5 miles, if not from the centre of the storm, then from the worst part of the storm. So it's going to be pretty bad over there right now, as it is on Hamilton Island, as it will be very soon on Bowen. Mackay is probably getting significant amounts of rainfall, Townsville a little bit less, and I'm sure there's a lot more to come. Well, we're going to close this hour, and we'll be back at the top of the next hour with more live coverage on the storm. And we'll have a position update and intensity update for you shortly. Until then, stay tuned. This is Force 13 Live. We'll be back with more on the storm live after this. Continues in a moment. You can follow Force 13's outlets, the website force13.com, at your service at any time with the latest storm updates. You can also find us on YouTube if you're not watching us there already, and subscribe if you've not done so. You can also find us on Facebook, search Force 13 all in text, and it's at Force 13 on Twitter if you'd like to get in touch on those mediums. You can also add Fool 13 on Skype and add extension 9094 on Discord for tropical weather chat.